Many old people slowly begin to spend more time inside their own minds. Not because they dislike people, not because they have nothing to say, but because aging changes the way emotions move inside the heart. When people are young, they speak quickly, they react fast, they argue, they explain every feeling. But after many years of life, something begins to change quietly. An older person may sit in a room full of family and say almost nothing. Yet inside their mind, thousands of thoughts are moving. They remember old conversations, old mistakes, faces that disappeared long ago, voices they still hear in silence. Many younger people misunderstand this behavior. They think old people are becoming cold, or weak, or disconnected. But psychology shows something deeper. As people age, the brain becomes more reflective. Older adults often process emotions more slowly but more deeply. They stop reacting to every small thing outside them. Instead, they begin living more inside memory, observation, and quiet thinking. That is why many old people can sit silently for hours while still feeling emotionally active inside. Sometimes they are replaying moments from 40 years ago. Sometimes they are thinking about their children. Sometimes they are asking painful questions they never had time to ask before. Did I live correctly? Did people truly love me? Why do some memories still hurt? Why do I feel lonely even around others? Aging often removes distractions. And when distractions disappear, thoughts become louder. This is one reason many old people stop talking as much. They begin realizing that most people do not truly listen deeply anymore. So they save their energy. They stop explaining themselves repeatedly. They stop fighting to be understood. This silence is not always sadness. Sometimes it is emotional exhaustion. An older man may stay quiet during dinner, not because he has no opinion, but because he has spent an entire lifetime speaking, working, solving problems, carrying pressure, and hiding emotions. Now his mind wants rest, not noise. An older woman may stare out the window every evening without saying much, but inside she may be remembering the years when her house was full of children's voices. Now the rooms are quiet, and silence becomes a place where memory lives. Psychologists often notice something important about aging minds. Older adults begin caring less about proving themselves. When people are young, they want attention, validation, recognition. But many old people slowly stop chasing these things. They become observers instead of performers. They watch people carefully. They notice tone changes, distance, coldness, respect, love. And because they observe more deeply, they also think more deeply. That is why many older people become emotionally quiet, but mentally busy. Sometimes silence is protection too. After enough disappointments, some old people become careful with words. They know how painful misunderstanding can feel. They have already seen friendships end, family relationships break, promises disappear. So they begin choosing silence over conflict. Aging also changes emotional energy. Young people can speak for hours without feeling drained, but many older adults become mentally tired faster. Long conversations can feel heavy, noise can feel exhausting, drama can feel unbearable. So thinking becomes easier than talking. Inside their thoughts, they feel safer, more peaceful, more in control. But this creates another hidden problem. The more old people stay inside their minds, the more loneliness can grow quietly. Because humans still need emotional connection, even silent humans. Many older adults secretly wish someone would sit beside them and truly listen. Not quickly, not while looking at a phone, not with fake patience. Just listen slowly. Sometimes an old person repeats the same story many times because that memory is emotionally alive inside them. That memory reminds them who they were. It helps them feel visible again. But many families become impatient. They interrupt. They stop listening. And little by little, the older person begins speaking less, not because they want silence, but because silence hurts less than feeling ignored. This is where psychology becomes heartbreaking. Many old people are not naturally becoming quiet. They are slowly adapting to emotional loneliness. They notice people are busy, distracted, always rushing, so they move deeper into their own minds because it feels like the only place where they still fully exist. Some older adults even begin talking to themselves more, or sitting alone for long periods. This is not always mental weakness. Often it is the brain trying to organize emotions, memories, fears, and unfinished feelings accumulated across an entire lifetime. Aging brings something very heavy into the human mind: awareness of time. Older people begin understanding deeply that life is not endless anymore. And this awareness changes how they think. They start reviewing life internally. The brain naturally becomes more reflective near later stages of life because humans begin searching for meaning. That is why older adults sometimes become deeply emotional over small things. An old song, a smell, a family photo, a quiet afternoon. These moments awaken entire emotional worlds inside them, and many times they cannot even explain those feelings with words anymore, so they simply stay quiet. There is another reason many old people spend more time thinking than talking. They begin noticing how temporary everything really is. When people are young, life feels endless. Friendships feel permanent. Parents feel permanent. Health feels permanent. But old age slowly removes these illusions. An older person has already watched many things disappear. Friends die. Children move away. Old homes get sold. Neighborhoods change. Even mirrors begin showing a different face every year. This changes the mind deeply. Psychologists say that older adults often become more internally focused because their emotional world becomes richer than their outside world. In simple words, their memories become bigger than their present moment. A man in his 70s may sit quietly at breakfast while everyone else scrolls phones or rushes through the morning. But inside his mind, he may still remember mornings from 50 years ago. His wife cooking in the kitchen, children laughing, music playing softly on the radio. The human brain stores emotional memories very strongly, and as people age, these memories become emotionally louder. This is why silence around old people is often misunderstood. Many people think silence means emptiness, but many older adults are full inside, full of memories, questions, pain, love that was never expressed properly. Some older people even begin regretting the way they spent their younger years. This becomes another reason for deep thinking. In younger life, survival takes most attention: work, money, responsibilities, pressure. But when old age arrives, many distractions disappear, and suddenly the mind has space to look backward. Some older adults realize they spent too little time with family. Some regret anger, others regret silence, and strangely, many regret the emotional words they never said. I love you. I was proud of you. I needed help. I was hurting too. Many older men especially struggle with this. Psychology has long shown that older generations were often taught to hide emotions. Men were told to stay strong, stay silent, keep moving. So many old men learned how to work hard, but never learned how to speak emotionally. Now in old age, those hidden feelings still exist inside them, but expressing them feels difficult. So they think instead of talk. An old father may sit beside his son saying almost nothing, yet inside, he may feel deep love, fear, pride, and sadness all at once. But the words stay trapped, not because he feels nothing, because he spent a lifetime learning emotional silence. Older women often experience something different. Many spent years caring for everyone else: children, husbands, family problems. And after decades of giving emotional energy away, many become mentally tired. Now they sit quietly because their minds finally want space for themselves. For the first time in life, they begin listening to their own thoughts. Sometimes this creates peace. Sometimes it creates sadness, because old age can become emotionally heavy at night. During the day, distractions exist, but nighttime is different. Silence becomes louder. Many old people lie awake thinking for hours about life, about death, about mistakes, about people they miss. Psychologists call this life review. The aging brain naturally tries to make emotional sense of the past. This is why many old people suddenly become emotional while talking about childhood memories, or lost parents, or old friendships. The memories are not just memories anymore. They become emotional anchors. Another painful truth is that many old people feel invisible, not physically invisible, emotionally invisible. Young people often speak around them instead of with them. Families become busy, conversations become shorter, attention disappears. And slowly, the older person notices something painful. People no longer ask what they think. This changes human behavior deeply. When someone feels unheard for too long, they slowly stop speaking. At first, they try. Then they repeat themselves. Then they realize nobody truly listens carefully. And finally, silence becomes habit. This is one of the saddest psychological changes in old age. Not all silence comes from wisdom. Sometimes it comes from emotional disappointment. An older woman may sit quietly during family gatherings while everyone talks loudly around her. People may assume she enjoys silence, but inside she may simply feel disconnected from the fast-moving world around her. Technology changes quickly, culture changes quickly, language changes quickly, and many older adults begin feeling left behind emotionally. So instead of struggling to keep up, they retreat inward. Thinking becomes their safe place. There is also fear hidden inside many older minds. Fear of becoming dependent, fear of sickness, fear of being forgotten. These fears are not always spoken aloud. Older people often protect others from their worries. They smile quietly while carrying fear privately. This creates even more internal thinking. Many older adults become masters at hiding emotional pain. Years of life teach them how to survive silently, but silence does not mean the pain disappears. In fact, silent pain often grows deeper because it has nowhere to go. That is why some old people suddenly cry over very small things. A kind word, a visit, a phone call, because emotional neglect makes tiny moments feel enormous. Sometimes one conversation can stay in an old person's heart for weeks, not because they are weak, because deep emotional connection becomes more valuable with age. As people grow older, they also begin understanding something younger people rarely notice. Most of life is spent pretending to be okay. This realization changes the human mind deeply. Many old people spent decades hiding stress, sadness, disappointment, and fear just to keep life moving. They raised families while tired, worked while emotionally broken, smiled while carrying loneliness. And now, in old age, the mind finally slows down enough to feel everything fully. That is why many older adults suddenly become more emotional in silence. Their thoughts are no longer running away from feelings. Their thoughts are sitting beside them. An older person may sit alone in a quiet room and suddenly remember something painful from 30 years ago. A harsh argument, a lost opportunity, a goodbye that never healed. Young people are often too distracted to sit with emotions for long. But old age removes many distractions. And when the world becomes quieter outside, the emotional world inside becomes louder. Psychologists sometimes notice that older adults become highly sensitive to emotional atmosphere. They can feel tension quickly, coldness quickly, distance quickly. This happens because aging increases emotional observation. Old people may not speak much anymore, but they notice almost everything. The tone in your voice, the way you greet them, how long you stay, whether your attention feels real or forced. This is why fake kindness hurts older people deeply. They can sense it immediately. An old mother may smile when family visits, but inside, she notices who truly wants to be there and who is only visiting from obligation. Older adults become experts at reading emotional truth because they have spent an entire lifetime watching human behavior. And after enough years, many become tired of shallow conversations. They no longer want endless gossip, pointless arguments, or fake excitement. They want something calmer, something real. This is another reason they think more than they talk. Their minds begin searching for meaning instead of noise. Some older people even begin enjoying silence itself, not lonely silence, peaceful silence. There is a difference. Young people often fear silence because silence forces self-awareness. But many old people slowly become comfortable with quiet moments. A cup of tea alone, rain outside the window, Bird sounds in the morning, a slow walk without conversation. These small, quiet moments begin feeling emotionally rich. Psychology explains this through emotional prioritization. As people age, the brain naturally focuses more on emotionally meaningful experiences and less on stimulation. That is why many old people stop chasing excitement. Peace becomes more valuable than entertainment. Calm becomes more valuable than attention. And deep inside, many older adults begin realizing that life was never really about constant achievement. It was about emotional connection. This realization can become painful too, because some older people suddenly understand they spent years surrounded by people, while still feeling emotionally alone. A man may retire after 40 years of hard work and suddenly realize he does not know how to emotionally connect anymore. His identity was built around responsibility. Now the responsibility is gone, and silence arrives. This transition becomes psychologically dangerous for many older adults, because when work disappears, hidden emotions appear. That is why retirement sometimes increases overthinking. An older person may begin asking difficult questions. Who am I now? Did my life matter? Why do I still feel empty? Why does silence feel so heavy some days? Many people think aging only changes the body, but aging transforms identity too. Older adults slowly lose roles they carried for decades: worker, provider, protector, parent of young children. And when these roles fade, many begin searching internally for meaning again. This creates long periods of deep thinking, sometimes healthy thinking, sometimes painful thinking. Another hidden psychological truth is this: old people often replay emotional pain because unresolved emotions stay alive longer in later life. A younger brain quickly jumps toward future goals, but an aging brain naturally returns toward unfinished emotional experiences. That is why old heartbreaks sometimes return unexpectedly: an old betrayal, an old regret, an apology never received. These emotional wounds quietly reopen during silent moments. And because many older adults speak less openly about feelings, the emotions stay trapped inside thought. This can make them appear distant, but internally they are emotionally active all the time. Some older adults even become afraid of burdening others with their feelings, so they stop sharing. An old father may hide his sadness because he does not want his children to worry. An old woman may hide loneliness because she fears sounding needy, so instead they carry emotions privately. Thinking becomes their emotional companion. This is why many older adults sit quietly for long periods after family leaves. The silence after connection often hurts the most. When the house becomes quiet again, thoughts return immediately, memories return, longing returns, fear returns. And perhaps this is the deepest truth about old age psychology. Many old people are not searching for attention. They are searching for emotional reassurance. They want to feel remembered, respected, included, still emotionally important in someone's life. Even the quietest older person wants to feel that their existence still matters to someone. And when they do feel truly seen, something beautiful happens. They slowly begin speaking again, not loudly, not endlessly, but honestly. In the final years of life, many people begin understanding emotions more clearly than ever before, not because aging gives perfect wisdom, but because time removes illusions. Old people begin seeing which relationships were real, which people truly cared, which moments actually mattered, and this changes the way they communicate. Many no longer speak just to fill silence. They speak only when something feels meaningful. This is why older adults sometimes pause for long moments before answering simple questions. Their minds are not empty. They are searching carefully through layers of memory, feeling, and experience. Young people often react quickly. Older people often reflect first. Aging slows external movement, but deepens internal processing. This is one reason many old people become quieter over time. They stop speaking automatically. Every word begins carrying emotional weight. An older person may spend an entire afternoon thinking about one conversation, one facial expression, one sentence somebody said carelessly, because with age, emotional sensitivity becomes stronger in strange ways. Not childish sensitivity, human sensitivity, the kind that notices emotional distance immediately. Many older adults become deeply hurt by feeling unnecessary. This fear quietly lives inside countless aging people. A father who once supported everyone may suddenly feel forgotten after retirement. A mother who spent her whole life caring for others may quietly wonder why nobody checks on her anymore. These feelings are rarely spoken directly. Older generations often learn to suffer quietly, so instead of expressing pain openly, they withdraw inward, and the mind becomes crowded with memories, questions, invisible sadness. Psychologists often notice that older adults revisit the past not because they want to stay stuck there, but because the past still feels emotionally alive. The brain holds emotional memories differently with age. A smell can reopen childhood. A song can reopen lost love. An old photograph can reopen grief that never fully healed. This is why older people sometimes stare silently into space for long periods. You may think they are doing nothing, but inside, entire emotional worlds are moving. Sometimes they are reliving beautiful moments, sometimes painful ones, and sometimes both together. Old age often creates a strange emotional mixture: gratitude and regret, peace and loneliness, wisdom and fear. An older person may feel thankful for life, while also grieving the years that disappeared too quickly. This emotional complexity is exhausting sometimes, so silence becomes rest. Not all quiet old people are depressed. Many are simply emotionally full of experiences most younger people cannot yet understand. Aging also changes what people desire emotionally. In youth, people chase excitement. In old age, many chase emotional safety. They want calm voices, gentle treatment, honest connection. Small acts become deeply meaningful: a short visit, a slow conversation, someone remembering their favorite tea, someone listening without rushing. These tiny moments can emotionally carry an old person for days, because what older adults often need most is not entertainment, it is emotional presence. To feel that somebody still truly sees them. This is why loneliness in old age becomes psychologically dangerous. Not because older people cannot survive alone. Many survive quietly for years, but humans are not built only to survive. They are built to feel connected. And when emotional connection disappears slowly, the mind turns inward more and more. Thinking replaces conversation. Memory replaces companionship. Silence replaces expression. But there is another side to this too. Some older adults discover deep peace inside their quiet minds. After years of chaos, pressure, and noise, they finally learn how to sit peacefully with themselves. They stop needing constant approval, stop competing, stop proving, and sometimes they become emotionally wiser than everyone around them. They understand patience differently, forgiveness differently, love differently. A quiet old person may understand life more deeply than the loudest person in the room, because suffering often teaches emotional truths that comfort never can. This is why some older people become incredibly gentle later in life. Pain softened them, loss humbled them, time opened their eyes. And after enough years, many realize something simple but powerful. Most people only wanted love, understanding, and peace all along. Not perfection, not endless success, just emotional warmth. Maybe this is why many old people spend more time thinking than talking, because they are finally seeing life clearly. And clarity creates silence sometimes. Not cold silence, reflective silence. The kind of silence that carries entire lifetimes inside it. The kind of silence that remembers voices no longer here. The kind of silence that quietly asks one final human question: did I truly matter to the people I loved? And perhaps the saddest part is this: many older people still do not know the answer, even after a lifetime of giving pieces of themselves away. That is why one kind conversation can mean so much to an aging heart. One moment of patience, one moment of listening, one moment of genuine attention. Because behind the quiet face of many old people, there is still a human being hoping to feel emotionally close to someone before time runs out. And maybe that is what their silence has been trying to say all along.